Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Remember 5th of August 2019? With a single stroke, Article 370 was abrogated, removing the special status of Kashmir. Now, amidst the special session speculations are rife that there is a surprise in store, just like 2019. It all started with the Prime Minister cryptically saying this will be a historic session. It could simply imply the shift from the old Parliament building to the new, or as the opposition fears or anticipates, a masterstroke by Prime Minister Modi, which may change the agenda before the 2024 elections. Listen in to the Prime Minister's declaration yourself and decide.
ये सत्र छोटा है, लेकिन समय के हिसाब से ये बहुत बड़ा है। ऐतिहासिक निर्णयों का एक सत्र है। ये सत्र की एक विशेषता ये तो है कि अब 75 साल की यात्रा अब नए मुकाम से आरंभ हो रही है।
While there's no official word yet, after the cabinet went into a huddle at around 6:30 p.m., there is a buzz that the government may bring in bill to provide reservation for other backward castes in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. Some people speculate that 25% of the total seats could be reserved for OBCs. Currently, there is reservation only for SC and ST in the Lok Sabha, while some others say that this is not possible simply because this will lead to almost 50% reservation within the parliaments and the seats available. While SCs enjoy a 15% reservation, 8% reservation for STs already exists. Some fear this may be Modi's Mandal 2.0, but others say that this might not just be the case, because if it is, it could be a game changer for the BJP in elections. If 25% OBC quota becomes a reality, 29 to 30 seats in Telangana will be reserved, 22 to 23 seats in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and 57 to 58 in Madhya Pradesh will be affected, and 50 seats in Rajasthan, and this could change the game for the BJP in the upcoming assembly elections. Also, along with this, would be 10 seats in Mizoram. But adding a twist to this speculation, Owaisi has also raised the demand for a Muslim quota. So is it going to be reservation for minorities? Well, if Owaisi is anything to go by, then this is his statement in Parliament.
अब बताइए सर, पार्लियामेंट्री जमहूरियत में शराकतदारी की जमहूरियत है, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव फॉर्म ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी में 8,999 में कितने मुसलमान कामयाब हुए? कितने सर? 520, जबकि 1070 को इस ऐवान का मेंबर होना चाहिए था। कितना डिप्रीविएशन है सर? कितना डिप्रीविएशन है? 92% डिप्रीविएशन है। इस मौजूदा पार्लियामेंट में स्पीकर साहब सिर्फ 26 हैं, 14% मुसलमान और सिर्फ 4.8 उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन है। बताइए, हम वोट डालने वाले बन गए, वोट लेने वाले नहीं बने।
As the air gets thick with suspense, the Prime Minister has warned against Rona Dhona by the opposition, which will take the sheen away from a historic session. But despite this, the opposition has lashed out at the Sarkar. While the Prime Minister hailed India's G20 success, Mallikarjun Kharge, leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, mocked the lotus in the G20 logo. This led to a counter-attack by Union Minister Piyush Goyal. Listen in to this exchange in the Rajya Sabha.
आज G20 की सफलता को भी आपने सर्वसम्मति से सराहा है। मैं मानता हूं देशवासियों का आपने गौरव बढ़ाया है। मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। G20 की सफलता 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की है। ये भारत की सफलता है।
हमने वो किया, ये ठीक है, G2 ठीक है, G2 क्या
G20 सर
नहीं, क्योंकि वो जीरो में कमल का फूल ही दिखता था।
तो मेहरबानी करके G20 की मजाक मत उड़ाइए, G20 बहुत
अरे मजाक नहीं भाई,
लेकिन सर शायद माननीय लीडर ऑफ द ऑपोजिशन कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष भी है, उनको तो सिर्फ 2G दिखता है, 1G एंड सन-G।
Well, we have breaking news also coming in, speculations over whether there will be a women's quota bill that will come in, and if it comes in, then this will form the basis for the delimitation commission, which is set to look at all the constituencies, look at the population and redraw the boundaries of every single constituency in 2026. And if this bill, which has been something that the Congress has been talking about and even tweeting today, even Mallikarjun Kharge referred to this, and if it is the Women's Reservation Bill which becomes an act in this session of Parliament in the Lok Sabha, then it can create a lot of changes, a lot of euphoria, and the fact of the matter is it will only be effective in 2029 after the Delimitation Commission takes a look at it in 2026. Joining me live on this speculation is Shivani Sharma from Times Now. Also joining me is Amit Kumar, ब्यूरो चीफ ऑफ टाइम्स नाउ नवभारत। अमित कुमार जी, आपकी अंदर की खबर क्या है कि अगर विमेन्स रिजर्वेशन बिल आता है तो ये डीलिमिटेशन कमीशन के पास जाएगा 2026 में, तो इफेक्टिव तो 2029 में होगा, लेकिन ऑलरेडी कांग्रेस पार्टी ने क्रेडिट लेने की होड़ शुरू कर दी है।
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही दिलचस्प है कि बहुत दिन बाद कैबिनेट के विजुअल्स आए हैं और ये कहते हुए कि बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कैबिनेट जो है वो जारी है। एक सरकार की तरफ से भी ये इंफॉर्मेशन दिया गया कि एक इंपॉर्टेंट कैबिनेट है। कैबिनेट खत्म होने के बाद जो मंत्री निकले, करीब 1 दर्जन से ज्यादा मंत्रियों से बात करने की कोशिश की, सबके जो लिप्स है एकदम टाइट है। इसका मतलब है कि कोई कुछ कहना नहीं चाहता है और ये जो सस्पेंस है वो बरकरार है। और इस सस्पेंस का फायदा ये है कि कांग्रेस अपने हिसाब से फायदा उठाना चाह रही है कि महिला आरक्षण बिल अगर आता है, निश्चित तौर पर जो आपने कहा कि उसको लागू होने में वक्त लगेगा, लेकिन अगर आप देखिए तो महिला आरक्षण बिल, ओबीसी से जुड़ा हुआ बिल, ये तमाम ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि टेबल पर है, जिसको आगे बढ़ाया जा सकता है, जो कि 2024 के चुनाव के हिसाब से गेम चेंजर है। लेकिन फिलहाल स्पेकुलेशन तेज है और मुझे लगता है कि अगले आधे घंटे 1 घंटे में कहीं ना कहीं से ये खबर आनी चाहिए। फिलहाल सबके जो है लिप्स एकदम टाइट हैं, कोई कुछ कहने को तैयार नहीं है, स्पेकुलेशन और तेज होता जा रहा है। मुझे लगता है कि इंतजार करना होगा कि ये क्या है, लेकिन हर कोई अब चाह रहा है कि इसमें अगर महिला आरक्षण बिल जैसा हो तो क्रेडिट लेने में कोई पीछे हटने को तैयार नहीं है।
सही कह रहे हैं आप, क्रेडिट कोई पीछे नहीं हटेगा क्रेडिट लेने से। लेकिन शिवानी, लेट मी आस्क यू, देयर इज अनदर हर्डल दैट इज गोइंग ऑन एट बीजेपी प्रेसिडेंट जेपी नड्डा's हाउस। How many ministers are in there and what kind of a strategy is being hatched there? And it really looks like something earth-shattering is going to happen, and only the top echelons of the BJP seem to know about it.
Certainly, see, the speculations are going on, and we were expecting a briefing after the cabinet meeting, which did not happen. So a surprise element remains. What's going to happen? But certainly something big is going to happen, and that's why when we talk about big decisions taken by the Modi government, be it any decision, there's a meticulous planning behind all these decisions. And it seems so that after this cabinet meeting, this meeting is going on at JP Nadda's house. All senior ministers are present there. And what's going to happen, and the suspense is getting deeper now, the kind of planning that's taking place, and no news of it coming out. All the ministers, all the senior ministers are tight-lipped about it. So certainly something big is going to happen. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Parliament today himself has hinted that the duration of this special session of the Parliament might be small, but it's going to be big. Some historical decisions, not a single decision, but historical decisions can be taken. So what are these decisions? Is it the Women Reservation Bill, or is it also the OBC Reservation Bill, or there is something else? of which nobody is actually even thinking of. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is known to give surprises. We'll have to see what's the surprise like. But tomorrow's ceremony is all planned because that will be the last day in the old Parliament building. There will be addresses by Prime Minister, by the speakers, by leaders of the houses and the opposition, and also invitations have been given to senior most leaders from all the parties, be it Maneka Gandhi, be it Manmohan Singh, Shibu Soren. So our sources are also revealing that invitation letters for this address have been sent to these leaders because they happen to be one of the senior most leaders of the Parliament. And after this
well said. So who is actually going to speak? That is also something that we need to keep our eyes on. Maneka Gandhi being one of them. Well, is that a political indication? We'll wait and watch. But on the other side, the legitimate question we are asking on the Newshour tonight: in making of history, will parliamentarians get together to change history? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side. Joining me on the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Sanjay Jha, author, suspended Congress leader, Dinesh Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BRS, Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst, Nilanjan Das, political analyst. But my first question goes to Smita Prakash, editor, ANI. And Smita Prakash, I'm asking you the first question because as journalists, we ought to know what's going on. But this time, it's just so tight-lipped that nobody is letting a word out even sideways to tell us or give us a hint of what's planned in this parliament session. Forget the opposition, even journalists have no clue. Or do you? Or do you have any inside story to share with our viewers?
Well, I think if your parliament reporters don't have a clue and they are second guessing, then I don't have either. And Navika, you know, what is mind-boggling is that by now, which is 9 years of this government, you'd think that some of us would have gotten used to it, that everything is tight-lipped and we won't know till it actually happens. We would have gotten used to not having the story, but it still rankles that none of us are able to break the story as of now. But it is interesting because obviously something big is being planned, something elaborate is being planned for tomorrow. And I think the BJP is very clear that if it is something going to be historical, then and it is going to go into the annals of history, it will be written about, spoken about for decades to come. It is something that is going to merit that kind of enormity. So I think it's also imperative that every parliamentarian who's going to be present tomorrow realizes that it is a significant day. It's a red letter day. And it is something that people will look back over the years and say, okay, this is what this parliamentarian did on this day. And they certainly don't want to be seen as a disruptor. That is not the legacy that any parliamentarian should want to do that on a historical day when they are moving into the new house. Today, when the Prime Minister was speaking and his speech, where he clearly said that what is it that motivates all the parliamentarians of today. Some of them, having been born much after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru made that significant speech in Parliament when the world sleeps and India awakens to freedom. So when everybody remembers that speech, even though many of us were born after that, many of the parliamentarians were born after that day. So do you want to be part of legacy making, or do you want to be seen as, oh, that person was jumping on the desk when something significant happened on the day that the first day of Parliament in the new building? So I think when the Prime Minister spoke today about legacy issues of all parliamentarians, he was sending out a subtle message to every parliamentarian that regardless of which side of the aisle you're sitting in tomorrow, be responsible and be part of history making. Also about what is it going to be, I think it's speculation, Navika. I wouldn't like to comment right now.
Well, let me get in Dr. Sanjay Jha. Dr. Sanjay Jha, clearly history can be made when we enter the new parliament building. I still remember my days of sitting in the media gallery when that historic speech was made by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. First time when his 13-day sarkar fell, and the second time when his 13-month sarkar fell because of that one vote by Mr. Girdhar Gomang. And I still remember that sequence in parliament because Mr. Girdhar Gomang had already been elected and was the chief minister of Odisha, but hadn't resigned his Lok Sabha seat, used that one vote to make the sarkar fall. And Prime Minister Vajpayee then, talked about how desh rahega, hum rahe na rahe, desh rahega. And the Prime Minister Modi today remembered and recalled that statement of setting some standards in parliamentary behavior. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think something completely, changing political discourse like the Women's Reservation Bill, on which I believe the Congress has already decided that they must take the credit, kahin BJP na le jaye. So they put out a tweet saying Rajiv Gandhi brought it first, and then Sonia Gandhi brought it second in 2010. So it's almost as if they're laying their claim ki bhai, ye hamara hai. Don't try, even if you bring it and get it passed, the success of this will go to us. Dr. Sanjay Jha, can we rise above this and do something for the country for a change rather than just looking at what accrues to me in my debit and credit balance sheet?
Navika, I wish it was easy to do that in Indian politics. Unfortunately, it is not. So let me give you, as impartial as I can get, my thoughts on the current, speculation as to what is in store. Firstly, for believers in democracy, I agree that Mr. Modi's party has the majority in the Lok Sabha. But if he talked today of a historic legislation or a decision that will have long-term repercussions that people will talk about for decades to come, then I'm disappointed with Mr. Modi, because you can't keep a large part of India in the dark, which is, by the way, a non-BJP, represented both in the Lok Sabha as well as in several states all over the country. So to me, if Mr. Modi is coming up tomorrow or day after, whenever in the forthcoming special session with something very tectonic, then I do believe that the opposition had to be a stakeholder in it, not just by being stunned into some kind of a proclamation made tomorrow or day after, but by being actually engaged in it a lot earlier. That's the way a proper representative democracy works. Under Mr. Modi, I think it's a foolish expectation. Point number two, I'm glad you mentioned Atal Bihari Vajpayee, because the common factor between both him and Mr. Modi is actually Shri L.K. Advani. And we know where L.K. Advani is today. Nobody even sees him anymore in a public space. Talk of respecting a man whom I think the BJP lionized for years and years to come. Mr. Advani famously said about Mr. Modi, he's a great event manager. And I think Mr. Modi is actually kind of fulfilling that prophecy to a great extent. I'll give you one example. The couple of times that Mr. Modi has tried to surprise India, I think we have all kind of been stunned into some serious inaction, if not altogether paralysis. One was demonetization, which devastated the Indian economy. And the second was a lockdown, which was announced with the shortest notice possible, and which had the tragic sight of migrants walking hundreds of kilometers back to their homes. And I do believe that these were decisions that a lot of Indians have paid for and continue to pay for today. So
Dr. Sanjay Jha, Smita, I'm coming to you, but Dr. Sanjay Jha, I find you are normally a very reasonable man, but I find you a tad unfair today. Are you going to just write off the last 9.5 years of Prime Ministership of Prime Minister Modi as just event management? I want to ask you, after a successful G20 and just about 10 days after that, you could actually get up there and say that he's just an event manager? I mean, I mean, let's talk of large hearts and let's talk of a little bit of credit giving. There are visuals coming in on your screen of ministers coming out of BJP President Mr. JP Nadda's house, tight-lipped. Many leaders coming out. Are they saying something to our reporters? Let's try and listen in.
माननीय राष्ट्राध्यक्ष जी के यहाँ बैठक हुई है जी। ये नियमित संगठनात्मक बैठकें हम लोगों की होती रहती हैं, उसी दृष्टि में बैठक।
सर, लेकिन जो सुनने में आ रहा है कि महिला सशक्तिकरण बिल आ सकता है, आपको क्या लगता है?
हम लोगों को जानकारी
नहीं, लेकिन आएगा तो कैसा रहेगा?
हम लोगों को जानकारी नहीं, क्या कहें।
कल गौतम जी आप लोग रहेंगे, कल नई संसद में शिफ्ट हो रहे, कैसा लग रहा है?
अच्छा लगेगा, सौभाग्य की बात है। बहुत अच्छा
Tight-lipped, nobody is uttering a single word, nobody willing to let the cat out of the bag. But yes, Smita, you were interjecting, yes.
Yeah, I just want to speak about this thing about event manager. I've heard Mr. Jha saying this on several channels and several times in the past. Let me just say this, even though Shehzad is there, I've covered LK Advani's Rath Yatra, and Navika, even you have been a political reporter at that time. The thing is that Mr. Advani never meant it as a pejorative thing about being an event manager. There's no way that Rath Yatra could have been successful of Mr. Advani had Mr. Modi not been working tirelessly to dovetail that entire thing around the country. And you're talking about a time when there were no WhatsApps, there was no Google Maps, nothing like that. And BJP had a Sangathan, but it was not all that great on the ground as yet. And for him to meticulously plan that, the Rath Yatra couldn't have been a success, and the BJP numbers couldn't have been as much as they were, even politically, even electorally, without Mr. Modi having done that in the Rath Yatra. So Mr. Advani being misquoted time and again is really unfair, because he's not in a position to come on TV debates and defend himself or his statement. So I think it's mighty unfair to use Mr. Advani's name in such a wrong manner.
Absolutely, and also the reference repeatedly to Mr. Advani. Age is something that you should respect, Dr. Sanjay Jha, because if he was in the fitness of things, he's very much around when he needs to be. But to make these comments, I'm coming back to you. But Shehzad Poonawalla, grace missing, consensus missing. Dr. Sanjay Jha says that the Prime Minister often stuns the opposition. The public thinks Modi is stunning. Where between these two stuns, would you think this parliament session really lies?
I agree with Sanjay Jha. It's not just the opposition. The people of India think that he's stunning, and therefore they make him win elections. And the global ratings which have come out recently show that his performance is stunning. And I can accept that those who are family managers, and today we have seen how the family tries to manage even the leader of their Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who is prompted to say things to praise the family instead of being allowed to complete a statement. Perhaps Madam Gandhi does not feel that Bengalis can manage their own affairs. Perhaps she was being told to do this by Mamata Banerjee to undermine their leader. Anyways, whatever it is. So we have seen family management also take place and management by family also take place. Now let me come to the proper issue today. Navika, today what have you seen in Parliament? Today you saw Prime Minister speak not as a Rajneta but a Rashtra Neta. He gave a kaleidoscope of the important events that have taken place in the lifetime of our democracy in last 75 years, hailing the contributions right from Prime Minister Nehru to the current government, from Rashtrapati Rajendra Prasad ji to Draupadi Murmu ji. And on the other hand, I have great regard for Mr. Khadge, but what did he say? G2 for G20. This is the kind of mindset some people have. They see Sonia Mata and Bharat Mata. They are the ones who put politics above people. Even on an occasion like this, they put Rajniti over Rashtaniti. Be that as it may, a couple of things very quickly. Navika, the ordinary cabinet briefing will not take place on occasions when Parliament is session. You know that when you're covering Parliament, whenever decision is taken by cabinet or any important decision is taken, the Parliament has first right to know about this, and therefore whatever is the decision taken by cabinet will be directly told in Parliament. This is parliamentary procedure. And how can parliamentary procedure be surprising or shocking? if it is constitutional, what is surprising, Navika and Smita ji sitting here, is that on 24th of June, Indira ji directly decides she will impose emergency. Then post facto, she takes the decision, orders the president, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, and on 6 o'clock in the morning on 25th of June, the emergency is imposed after the cabinet is given a post facto diktat to accept it. That is surprising. That is the insult of democracy. But having said that, today let me come to a couple of more issues, Navika. Navika, today the only question that must be asked is that on women's reservation also, although this issue is being put in again and again, and right now as it is standing, the matter is very clear that the agenda of this session has been spoken of. Tomorrow we are going to shift to a new parliament building. It is a very special day, especially for Maharashtrians like me, because Ganesh Chaturthi is there. All auspicious things begin with Ashirwad of Vigna Harta. But I want to ask Vigna Santoshi, those people who take Santosh in Vigna, please tell me, the Women's Reservation Bill, we brought it in 2003, we brought it in 1999, we brought it in 2000 also, during Vajpayee's tenure. Congress never supported. When Congress brought it in 2010, we gave full support and the bill was passed in Rajya Sabha. After that, for 4 years, why did Congress not pass it? The reason Congress did not pass it is because SP, RJD, who were supporting the government, had refused, and they said, we do not accept this bill. And even today, Indy is not taking consolidated stand on the bill that Pawan Kheda and Jairam Ramesh have said. It is passed in Rajya Sabha, pass it. Is Samajwadi Party on board with the same bill? I am talking about the exact same bill. Is RJD on board with the exact same bill? Is JDU on board with the exact same bill which has been passed in Rajya Sabha? तो खुद में कोई एका नहीं और दूसरों के घर में आप जो है ताक झांक करते हैं, तो कम से कम India Alliance should issue a statement tomorrow that we are with this version of the bill passed in Rajya Sabha.
Well, Dr. Sanjay Jha, respond before I get in Mr. Dinesh Chaudhary.
Navika, first and foremost, I think elementary knowledge, INDIA is pronounced as India, not Indy. So I think this level of pathological insecurity is bad for psychological health. But the larger point that I wish to make...
It's India Alliance.
You know, the
Indy, INDI, A for Alliance. You don't say India Alliance.
Just a minute.
Navika, I don't usually interrupt. Navika, I usually don't interrupt. I beg your indulgence for 10 seconds. Navika, I usually don't interrupt. I just take 10 seconds. Navika, just a point.
Okay, 10 seconds to Shehzad. I'm coming to you, Sanjay Jha.
Navika, usually...
Yes, Shehzad.
Navika, the Indy full form abbreviation, the A stands for Alliance. It is not BJ. We don't say BJ Party. We say Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, this is Indy Alliance. So, that is as clear as daylight. If we say India Alliance, it will become INDIA Alliance. Now, Alliance can't be said. So, therefore, I said India Alliance. If you have a problem with it, you keep calling it what you want to call it.
Right.
Sanjay Jha.
Thank you very much for the permission. Anyway, as far as the India Alliance is concerned, I think it's made this point extremely clear. And it's true that under the Dr. Manmohan Singh-led UPA government, the Women's Reservation Bill was passed in the year 2010. And it's true, the BJP counterpart of mine is speaking the truth, remarkably refreshing. When he said that we did not have the numbers, we did not have the numbers. He's right. There are certain constituents of the India Alliance which still haven't made up a clear mind whether they need to back. They did not back that bill. Perhaps they may not back this bill. We don't know. The point we wish to make is, and I can speak here as somebody who saw the Congress through that, through that phase of politics, that the Congress party shepherded the bill because it believes that 33% of the reservation for women in both parliament and state assemblies must happen. Just like Rajiv Gandhi needs to be credited for the path-breaking reform of giving women 50% reservation in the panchayat level, 33%, but almost 50% women are being elected.
Then please give the credit to Prime Minister Modi for passing the bill of Article 370 abrogation, because he believed in it and he also had the numbers, unlike the Congress party, which did not have the numbers to get this bill passed in the Lok Sabha.
Navika, just one factual correction.
Okay. What is the factual correction?
Navika, in Rajya Sabha also they did not, let me correct. In Rajya Sabha also in 2010, UPA had no numbers. We supported them. In Lok Sabha, they never brought the bill because Samajwadi Party, on whose crutches the government was surviving, had refused to allow it. In fact, Abu Azmi had torn the copy of the bill. So Sanjay Jha, your government lasted till 2014. You definitely had the numbers. It was Samajwadi Party, RJD and JDU, which, not JDU at that time, but later on subsequently they opposed it. They held a gun to your head. 1 second, don't interrupt now. They held a gun to your head saying that we will not allow you to bring this, point number one. Point number two, if you are so sure, forget everything else. Priyanka Vadra said 40% reservation in seats in our party. You have two governments, Karnataka, Himachal, 46 ministers, one minister as a woman. In our cabinet, 11 ministers are there. We have made Rashtrapati Draupadi Murmu as the president.
We can continue to argue about that, but the fact of the matter, Dr. Sanjay Jha, is that in 2010, I was standing there in Parliament when marshals were taking people out of Rajya Sabha for interrupting the House, the passage of the bill. They were virtually carried out. 6 people carrying one member of Parliament walking out. You know, those are not pictures that you want to recall. I can play them for you, but that really doesn't do the justice to the passage of the bill in Rajya Sabha, which you're tom-tomming. And the question, Mr. Dinesh Chaudhary, the question really is that the Congress wants to take credit for everything. Great, they must. They've ruled for longest period in this country. But when they take the credit on the Women's Reservation Bill, if it were to be brought by the government in Parliament, does the credit really go to them? Because Rajya Sabha passed it in 2010 and they allowed it to lapse in Lok Sabha. They did not bring it in Lok Sabha, and they want the high moral ground on the Women's Reservation Bill, taking away the glory from the BJP if they were to bring in the bill in this session of Parliament. Is that fair?
Navika ji, Women's Reservation Bill has been an issue which has been dragged throughout the decades by Congress party. They were in power for 10 years from 2004 to 2014. If they really had any conviction to pass the bill, they would have approached the opposition parties then only and have got it passed. But even after 2014 losing their power, we haven't seen Congress party seriously striving to get Women's Reservation Bill passed.
Wrong.
Even recently also, while writing to the Prime Minister, Sonia Gandhi ji hasn't mentioned Women's Reservation Bill in her letter. Our MLC Kavita ji has pointed it out. If you were serious about Women's Reservation Bill, you would have mentioned it and you would have asked him to table the bill in this special session. But they haven't done that. And now, if it really comes to the fore, and let me tell you, BJP has the numbers to pass the bill in both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, we will welcome it. Whatever ulterior motives Modi ji might have passing it at this juncture, within a few months of elections, but we will welcome the gesture because Women's Reservation Bill is a necessity. Women need to be empowered, and that reservation which has been lying dormant for the past few decades, it should become a reality, and we would welcome everybody's support to it. And we ourselves have been striving for it. You have seen our party MLC Kavita ji has organized a all-party agitation in Delhi for Women's Reservation Bill.
Absolutely.
So we would welcome the
credit is definitely the Congress, whether they want to really take this bill forward or not. History clearly is something that they'd like to forget. But Nilanjan Das, Mr. Nilanjan Das, let me just ask you this. Is this a session where we should actually see across the aisles people coming together because history is being made? We're moving from old Parliament building to new. The old is actually where we have many memories of freedom at midnight, you know, all the India becoming a democracy, India becoming an independent country, all of those memories associated with the old parliament and new parliament, which talks about India looking forward, trying to become a superpower, and this is where bills will be passed, making this country, a great superpower. In the middle of this, can the bickering actually end? Can we, as parliamentarians, set an example to the country that we can come together to work for the country? Because at the end of the day, everybody who is in parliament represents the people of India. Whether you are from one party or another, you represent the people of India, and therefore this should be a serious temple where work for the people of India really takes place. But can that happen?
I don't see it happening because the opposition has been trying to cooperate with the government, but the government doesn't have any political will to take the opposition along with them. The government hasn't put out their entire agenda. Then the government is not allowing the opposition members to speak on such an important day when we are moving to a new parliament building. It's really shameful because parliament is not just about a building. It is about the ideas. It is about the people. It is the largest temple of democracy. So I don't think the government actually respects parliament. The government doesn't care for the parliament. They have no respect for parliamentary ethics. Now, for the last 20 days, we have been hearing a lot of fictitious agenda that has been floated in the media. We have heard about the Women's Reservation Bill. We have heard about the, India being renamed as Bharat. We have heard about one nation, one election. And today I'm listening that it could be the OBC Reservation. So I think all these are hogwash. In the last parliament session, we saw that Mr. Modi didn't attend. He skipped the entire parliament session. He wanted to evade all the questions on the Manipur issue. And in this parliament, he just gave out a Man Ki Baat. And very unfortunately, he mispronounced the name of our honorable president. And I think I must put it on record. It's really shameful that Mr. Prime Minister mispronounced the name of Draupadi Murmu ji. Having said that, I think it is also very unfortunate that senior parliamentarians, leaders of the political parliamentary caucus, they are not allowed to speak. Today, Mr. Derek O'Brien of the All India Trinamool Congress, he was not allowed to finish his speech, and the parliament was adjourned. And he had to finish off his speech, outside the parliament. So this is really unfortunate. I don't think Mr. Modi has any kind of respect for parliamentary practices.
Well, respond to that, Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla. Somebody as senior as Derek O'Brien, many-time member of parliament, not being allowed to complete his speech. Is this only about a building and not about parliamentary ethics and camaraderie, as Nilanjan Das points out? Please respond.
Look, Navika, Prime Minister is so perceptive. On a day when we should be talking about our collective achievement as a democracy, once again you're hearing Rona Dona. Now please tell me, the TMC spokesperson, he is very offended by an alleged mispronunciation. But a sitting minister in the TMC government, what he had said about Draupadi Murmuji's skin color, what has, 1 second, do not interrupt, sir, I did not interrupt you, I heard you out completely. What did Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary say about Draupadi Murmuji, Rashtrapatni? And then 1 second, please, can I not be interrupted by you?
He apologized for it.
You wait your turn and then you speak. This is
decorum. No, I cannot let you. I cannot let you blabber nonsense.
You have given him badge of honor.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, all right.
But you have kept him as a minister.
All right.
Navika, at least
if you have a counter, Nilanjan Das, I'll give you time for your counter. Allow him to complete.
He can hold it in.
It has been admonished by the Honorable Chief Minister of Bengal.
Why are you but interrupting me? You say it in your turn. Navika, what is this kind of debate? You know,
make your point.
Just turn off.
Make your point, Shehzad.
This is the kind of debate where we will have interjection. Then we have seen what has been said by Ajay Kumar. He said evil mindset. In fact, I am not telling you you are beyond rescue anyways. You are in Rona Dhona capacity today. I'm not telling you. I'm asking Navika. Can you please stop interrupting me every 5 seconds?
That's what you started your conversation
Navika,
with.
May I continue?
That's the level of discourse.
Thank you.
That is the level of discourse of the BJP party.
Navika, may I have a...
Go
Navika,
on.
let him remove his frustration for 30 seconds. Then
All
give me
right.
some
No. Come on. Let's not get into a slanging match. Make your point. Shehzad.
But I did not interrupt. There are multiple
Okay,
speakers
all
from the
right. Make
India
your
Alliance.
point, Shehzad
I have heard
Poonawalla.
very patiently. It is my time to speak.
Yes,
Navika, if you
please
allow me
speak,
to speak, I will
Shehzad
speak.
Poonawalla.
Thank you, Navika. How do I speak with interruptions? Let me continue again. Now, Navika, I am saying what action did they take on the TMC minister? What action did they take on Ajay Kumar? What action did they take on Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary? So let us not come into all of these arguments. In fact, when the Rashtrapati of Bharat, Draupadi Murmuji, invited Ashok Gehlot and she invited Chhattisgarh CM for the dinner at G20, they did not attend. That is the biggest insult they could have done. Now leave that aside. Let me come to the major issues that have been spoken of. Now, time and again for the last 12 sessions, Navika, they wanted Charcha on Mehngai. We said, come, let's do discussion on Mehngai. They brought out Rafale. Rafale mein Supreme Court ki khani padi, bhag gaye. They wanted Charcha on COVID. We said, let's do Charcha on COVID. Pegasus report le aaye. Supreme Court ki khani padi, bhag gaye. They said Manipur par Charcha. We said, let's do Manipur par Charcha. Prime Minister spoke. They did not listen. So who is it that puts confrontation above consensus, dharna above discussion? They have had a habit of this. And Navika, finally, I just want a couple of things to be answered. This is a party which has opposed the Teen Talaq law asked by the Supreme Court when it was passed by Parliament. These are the parties who have brought in a law to overturn the Shah Banu judgment. They are talking about women's empowerment. First, they should tell us that what is the stand of BRS on Shah Banu law. What is the stand of BRS on triple talaq law asked by Supreme Court to be passed by Parliament? Did they support it? No. And therefore, these people are only paying lip service. I challenge India Alliance spokespersons. Tell us if Samajwadi Party is in favor of the pending bill in Rajya Sabha.
Well, let me tell you what Mulayam Singh Yadav had said about that bill, and let me get in Akashdeep Muni. Akashdeep Muni, Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav at that point, you know what he said? And I'll read it out. बड़े घर की लड़कियां और महिलाओं को फायदा मिलेगा, हमारी गांव की गरीब महिलाओं को नहीं, आकर्षक नहीं होती वो, बस इतना कहूंगा ज्यादा नहीं. So he actually took this entire issue, part of your Indie Alliance. The entire issue was that rural women probably not as beautiful, and therefore urban women will get the benefit. I want to ask you, Akashdeep Muni, and I'm getting information from my reporter Ravikant Rai from Times Now Navbharat, who says that women are coming to the visitors gallery of Parliament, and many people are now speculating that it will be the women's bill which will make history in Parliament tomorrow. And Akashdeep Muni, if it were to come in, would we set aside all our differences and actually give this bill the support that it deserves and needs?
Navika ji, that we since last 1 week we are just speculating what the special session is all about. I hope at least the government owes the country to let them know that what the special session is all about. Is that election, one nation? Is it about OBC? Is it about Women's Reservation Bill? Let them tell the agenda. And after that, then let's take the credit. On presumptions, the BJP spokesperson wants to take credit on presumptions that it may happen. So it is very interesting.
Well, it's definitely not one nation, one poll, because the committee has met once, will meet again, and therefore there is no report on it. So you should understand that. And
on that day also I said on your show that it's not one nation, one poll. One point which I want to make, that was the Prime Minister said about Rona Dhona politics. You know, one request, opposition party does not have an office. They have only the Parliament to share the light on the government's performance. So if the government has promised 24 hours electricity, if the government has promised a bullet train, if the government has promised a $5 trillion by 2022, all these things, the Honorable Prime Minister has promised. And if they fail to do it, and if the opposition put it in front of the Parliament, then if BJP says that in Rona Dhona politics, I don't know what actually the...
Well, he only mentioned about G20 being included in your Rona Dhona list, which at least the minimum that you could leave aside. Smita, don't you think so? Did the Prime Minister include all the other objections?
Look, before I answer that, I would just like to say that whatever reservations that people have, that, that the BJP doesn't have conviction or not have conviction. They are doing it for whatever ulterior motives. The fact is that at this point of time, I think if it is history making, if the country is moving forward to get its social development goals in place, get its ducks in a line, then I think it is time for everybody to come out and support this. The time has gone by. Navika, you were talking about, kind of bizarre statements that came out when the Women's Reservation Bill came. There was also that comment, God bless his soul, Mr. Yadav, who had said कि परकटी लोगों को लोग जो हैं वो आएंगे, referring to women, working women who have short hair, who will come into parliament. These kind of remarks were made. There are also people who are saying that Muslim women don't get out, so they will not get reservation. More Hindu women will come out. Whoever comes, the point is that even when Panchayat Bill, maybe there were reservations, they were said that, there will be proxy voting. These kind of things will happen. I don't think one should look at a gift horse in the mouth. I think if the time has come for history making, it's time for everybody to just
fall in line and to do it with grace, which is important. And we hope we don't see in the new parliament building members of parliament breaking television sets, breaking screens, standing up on tables. We just hope that the country is spared from that spectacle. Completely out of time on this one, but what's going to happen? My bet is on the Women's Reservation Bill for the moment. If there are changes in any states, well, we'll keep you informed, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On